Alright, what's up guys and girls? How's it going? I'm back with another video. Today is Monday, as you know. Every Monday they come out with new patch notes. Last patch notes was literally a minute long. This one I've read through the first few. I think this warrants a full video. So hopefully it doesn't just cut me off from when I stopped, but we're going to read through these as they pertain to PvP, provide my point of view when I see them, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And as always, if you guys have a differing opinion or if you agree with what their changes are, feel free to comment. So let's see what they have. Art and animation, combat and gameplay for PvE, art and animation, exploration, alliance war, PvP. Battlegrounds, reduce the rewards for finishing in second place to 10,000 and third place to 7,000. Okay, so the last time, like if you participated in Battlegrounds, you're getting a ton of AP. So they just reduced that a little bit. I think that's a good idea. Combat balance. The Resurrect ally ability can now always be interrupted, even if the enemy player has crowd control immunity. I think that's a good thing to have, because if you have crowd control, if you have CC immunity when you try to revive, then you can just revive afterwards. So always being able to interrupt these, I think, is a good thing. Yeah, this is a good change. I still like this change from last time, where you have a cooldown when you're interrupted on the skill. I just think this is a really good idea for PvP. Oftentimes, like, you'll be trying to fight a group, and they just go into revive mode, like, you're a trial boss, and there's like 8 of them, and they think they need all 8 to kill you, so they just go 2 or 3 reviving or standing in front, and then they're just nonstop CC spamming you. And this will help prevent that a little bit, which I think is good. Dragon Knight, Ardent Flame, Flame Lash. The Power Lash from this morph now has a 3-second cooldown. This ability that's morphs, Lava Whip, this ability that's morphs no longer have a cooldown when they can set the enemy target off balance. Striking a stunned or a mobile enemy will always set them off balance. Okay, so I think this is more of a PvE change with how off balance with how they're changing how off balance works. There's a time period where, like, if I remember correctly, Power Lash does reduce cost and increase damage. And so this would just allow magic DKs to have ridiculous sustain in PvE. And so I think this change is probably good in general for, not that every class is balanced by any means. Obviously, magic DKs in trial situations are completely useless right now because of what they do. But I think this change makes a lot of sense with all the other changes they're doing. I don't know how it's going to all add up, but this one makes sense. I think this one makes sense with all the other changes that they've had. So we'll have to see how it plays out. The PvE guys will definitely have a stronger opinion than I will on that. Nightblade Assassination, Grim Focus. So this is Relentless Focus and Merciless Resolve. The stacks you build toward the bow proc for this ability and its morphs will now remain if you recast the ability early or if the ability expires. The partial stack will be removed if you exit combat. Interesting. So, as you guys know, 5 light attacks procs this, and so currently, a really tight PvE rotation, you can get 3 Merciless Resolve procs, but like it has to be a really good rotation for you to get that, and it takes a very high skill level in order to pull it off. In order to pull off 3, most people can only really get 2. And if you mess up once, you kind of screw everything up, and then it just kills your DPS because this is a huge part of your rotation. This is really nice because, if you forget to rebuff or if you accidentally buff too soon, like you don't all of a sudden lose. Like there's times where I think I'm about ready to run out of my Relentless in PvP, and so I rebuff it, and I had a couple light attacks built up, and now if I rebuff, I'll still keep those light attacks, and then I'll be able to still use the skill more often. I think that's a good thing. The bow proc will sometimes not play its distinct audio cue. Yep. This change makes the ability effectiveness more consistent among players of different skill levels. It still rewards more skill play, absolutely, but is less punishing when someone makes a mistake. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's the shorter version of basically what I said. I think that's a good change. Shadow Image. If you are further than 28 meters away from your shade, this morph will now revert back to allowing you to summon a new shade rather than letting you attempt to teleport to the shade and fail. This was one of the main reasons I was having such a hard time with my Stam Nightblade. I tried to put my Shadow Image down, and there were a few times where I dropped my Shadow Image, and then I accidentally got out of range, and so I went to cast another one, and it puts you in an animation to where you can't use a skill. And so I couldn't use rally, I couldn't vigor, I couldn't weapon swap, I couldn't do anything until the old shadow image went away. And that's a big problem in PvP because, you know, if that happens and you can't do anything, you're just dead. You're just standing there dead. And so this is a pretty huge issue. Makes Nightblades really hard to play when you have a bug like this. So very good change. Siphoning, Malevolent Offering. Reduce the health cost of this ability and the healthy offering morph from 49.25 from 67.51. This is the new Magicka Nightblade heal that they did last patch. I don't know why they have to reduce this because I don't think many people were using it, but I don't know. Shrewd Offering. Reduce the health cost of this morph to 43.20 from 59.40. Oh, reduce the health cost. I'm sorry, I thought it meant reduce the healing. So yeah, okay, so trying to put this up and make it actually useful, because losing 7k health with a lot of builds is quite a large amount to be risking. So known issue, the tooltip still displays the old cost value. Okay. Templar Aedric Spear, Puncturing Strikes. Increase the width of your damage area of this ability and its morphs by 1 meter. It now hits in an 8x6 rectangle in front of you, 8 meters long, 6 meters wide, previously 8x5. I think this is a good change. This change will help Templars land jabs more consistently, particularly while strafing. I like this. I like this quite a bit. Currently, you know, sometimes jabs or sweeps, they just don't feel like they're hitting in front of you even though they're in front of you. So maybe that extra 1 meter will, you know, make up for that. So I think this is good. Soul Magic, Soul Assault. This ability and its morphs no longer snare the enemy target. Thank you, ZeniMax. That's awesome. I think Soul Assault needed a nerf in some way. I would have preferred like a 1 second reduction on the overall cast time, but removing the snare completely is awesome. One of the main counters to channeled abilities is being able to break line of sight out of range of the ability, which is extremely difficult when faced with a 70% snare. Exactly. So I had a really nasty Magicka Nightblade build idea using Soul Assault for this reason, for the snare, and it wasn't going to be balanced. It was going to be really, really retarded, and they kind of removed the ability to do that, which is excellent. I think this is an amazing change. It's still going to hit really hard. You're going to have to block. You're going to have to line of sight. You're going to have to get out of range because it's going to melt you if you don't block. But now you're not stuck there, and when you're 1vxing, you're not snared in place with 5 other people beating on you. This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Combat fixes and improvements. General, fix an issue where you could maintain the off-balance debuff against boss enemies indefinitely. Fix an issue where the health recovery reduction from major and minor defile was not reducing health recovery increases from some sources, such as drink buffs or the Troll King item set. Okay. Dragon Knight, Ardent Flame. Flame Lash, fix an issue where the power lash attack of this morph could not be dodged. Okay, I didn't know that. Draconic Power, Reflective Scale, fix an issue where the recasting of this ability and its morphs would not refresh the amount of projectile reflections allowed. Ooh, I didn't know that was a bug. I haven't used Reflective Scale in a long time. Earth and Heart, Ash Cloud, fix an issue where this ability and its morphs could sometimes expire early, causing you to miss the final tick of damage. Alright, cool. Nightblade Shadow, Shadow Image. Fix an issue where teleporting or attempting to teleport to your shade would cause you to lose some character functionality, such as the ability to mount or interact with objects. Yep. Templar Aedric Spear, Puncturing Strikes. Fix an issue where the damage done to the primary target from this ability and its morphs was slightly lower than intended. Okay, so Templars are going to be hitting harder next patch. Fix an issue where the spear thrust animation and the impact sounds from this ability and its morphs were not visually aligned. Okay. Puncturing Sweep. This is the Magicka Templar version. Fix an issue where this morph was not healing the caster. Huh, interesting. Itemization Balance, Item Sets, Kalurian's Legacy. This item set's proc now spawns the Lit Shoulder visual immediately, but has a 1 second delay before it fires the projectile at the enemy target. This will telegraph the incoming damage burst from the set so enemies have time to respond. Excellent. This set was going to be really, really strong. I think it still is going to be strong, but the 1 second delay goes in line with all the other proc sets that they have. So now you can potentially see it. You can block. You know, you can protect yourself. You can pop a heal if you see it. Whatever. Very, very good change. Plague Slinger. The Skeever Corpse summoned by this item's set's proc now lasts 4 seconds, down from 6 seconds, but now fires projectiles at the enemy every 1 second, down from 1.5 seconds. Okay, so this is a buff. So before, this was the one that does 5,000 poison damage every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds at the closest target when you take damage. That's what this set is. So it's still 4 procs. You know, instead of 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, it's still 4 procs every 4 seconds. This is a buff to the set. More burst, so okay. I was already going to try it, but now I feel like I'd like have to try it. Increase the speed of the projectile fired from the item's proc set by 50%. Okay, so 2 buffs. 2 buffs to a set that I already thought was already kind of strong. This set was a bit too easy to avoid, so we've increased the speed at which it delivers damage. Okay. Alright. We'll see what happens. 7th Legion Brute. This item set's proc now has a 2-second cooldown. Okay. The set was scaling tool effectively when fighting more than one opponent. The short cooldown brings the set more in line with what was originally intended. Yes, so there was no cooldown on the 7th Legion set, so really tanky builds like block casting builds could run this, and it would give them a lot of heals. So every time the set procced, you got that little burst heal. And when you're blocking, like, you reduce the amount of damage you take quite a bit. 7th makes you very tanky when you're blocking. Yeah, the 2-second cooldown is still going to make the set good. I mean, you still get 500 weapon damage instead of it potentially proccing every 1 second, it's every 2 seconds at its best. It's still going to be a really strong set, but I do like this. I think it needed to be adjusted. I think this is the best way to adjust it. 7th Legion is not broken, guys. It's not nerfed to shit. It's still good. It's still going to be really good. 500 weapon damage in a heavy armor build that procs when you take damage. It's going to be good. This item set's proc now occurs on any light or heavy attack instead of only critical strikes with light or heavy attacks, but the proc chance has been reduced to 20% from 100%. Okay, I like that. Now occurs on any light or heavy attack instead of only critical strikes with light or heavy attacks, but the proc chance has been reduced to 20%. Okay, so now this just opens up build variety. More people can use this set. It was going to be a pretty strong set, especially with 100% guaranteed crit. Like, that was going to be ridiculous, especially with Magic and Nightblades. This is a good change. Increase the cooldown of this item set's proc to 18 seconds from 15 seconds. Okay, so these are 2 good changes. Zon was going to hit really hard. It was going to be really easy to proc on certain builds, and it was, yeah, these are both good changes. This monster set was overperforming. Oh, really? By reducing both the reliability and uptime of the proc, these changes bring the overall DPS of the set more in line with other monster sets. Okay. So this is still going to hit hard, but the cooldown and the proc chance are going to be a lot harder to pull off. So it's not going to be nearly... I think this set's still going to be worth having. It's still going to be worth going out to get, but, you know, it might not be best in slot for literally every build available. So very good changes. Itemization fixes and improvements. Item sets, Grand Rejuvenation. Fix an issue where the stamina restore from this item set's proc was not centered on the Grand Healing cast. Okay. Plague Slinger. Fix an issue where the projectiles fired from this item's proc were removing enemies from stealth or invisibility. So yeah, that's what I was wondering about that set. The one that with the skeever dropping and shooting. I was wondering if it was going to pull people out of stealth like some other skills similar to it do. I'm pretty sure my bow ulti pulled somebody out of stealth a couple days ago. So because of the cast time and everything. That's a good change. Alliance War PvP. Slightly increase the forward camp deployment radius to prevent placement on inner keep structures. Okay. Slightly increase the forward camp deployment angle checks to allow for more forgiving placement on terrain. Excellent. Itemization. Consolidated the armor rewards for winning 30-day campaigns into a single champion's cache container. This also resolves the issue where you would sometimes see a question mark as the 7th reward item in your mail. Okay. Art and animation. Nobody cares. Combat and gameplay. Crafting and economy. Alchemy. Adjust the duration for all immovable potions. The base duration has been reduced from a cap of 12.5 seconds to 8 seconds, leading to a medicinal use maximum of 10.4 seconds. Okay, this is a good change. So immovable pots won't grant immovability for as long as they used to. Slight reduction. So yeah, I think before you could have immovability for 16 seconds or 15 point whatever, fully leveled, and so now it's 10. So that's a pretty big reduction in immovability. I think that's a good change. Outfit system. Okay, outfit styles, general, exploration, housing, homes, storage, general, gamepad mode, gameplay, housing. All right, so that's the end of the patch notes. In general, I think all these are pretty good. I still think Zon might be hitting a little too hard, but this is a huge reduction in the proc. So the cooldown is longer, and the ability to proc it, you're going to have to. This is one of those sets where it's going to actually take like a skilled rotation to pull this off in general. And actually to keep people within the radius isn't going to be easy to do either. So this is, I like these types of sets. I talked about it before, but this isn't going to be easy to proc now. You know, like you still have to do, if you know how to animate, if you know how to weave your light attacks with whatever, this will proc a lot for you. But if you don't know how to do that and you're not as experienced of a player, this isn't going to proc as much. And so depending on your ability to do that and your build in general, is going to limit the effectiveness of this set. Plus you can still get out of range and all that fun stuff. So I think that's a good change. The 7th Legion change is good. This is still probably going to be the strongest heavy set in the game still. But yeah, it needed to come back because there was no reason to run a set like Fury or any other set for most builds when 7th Legion was almost giving you the same damage plus a heal. It was a noticeable heal even though it doesn't look like it. This is going to be interesting. I'm still going to have to farm this, Clarion's Legacy. This is a good change. Yeah, overall, like I have no gripes about any of this. The Dragon Knight changes, I think these are mostly PvE related, and how off balance works with Dragon Knights, and you know how the new off balance is going to work. So somebody a lot smarter than me is going to have to comment on this as it pertains to PvE. I haven't PvE'd on my Magicka DK in a long time, so not this change, the one where off balance is a 3-second cooldown. So overall, good changes. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.